Hello, this video is intended to document my learning experience in two ways. First, I want to find out how the Moodle 2.5 activity workshop can be set up. And two, I would like to explore how this activity can give learners an opportunity for learning through peer assessment. So this is what the activity looks like from a student's perspective. What I've done so far is I created a task that is intended for ESL learners. For the purpose of this course, since there are a lot of native speakers, I left out the language learning part a little bit. And this is the task description. So the learner is informed about what they have to do in order to complete an artifact. And once they have done that, they would start participating in the workshop as such. So to be sure, the first part of this task is individual. However, if I had a synchronous meeting with the students, I would certainly discuss the format and maybe even assessment criteria with the students. A workshop activity in Moodle has 5 phases. In phase 1, the teacher defines the task, provides the task description, sets up the assessment criteria, and puts everything in place in Moodle. Date definition is also part of the things we have to think about in this phase. The second phase is submission. The learners submit their work on the Moodle platform. Phase 3 is assessment. The students assess an example, if provided by the teacher, and assess each other's work. Phase 4, grading, is an activity done by the computer based on the criteria provided by the teacher. There is a grade for submission of one's work and a grade for the assessment, that is, how learners assessed other learners' work. The computer does the calculations here. The teacher can always override the computer's decisions. The last phase is the closed phase, where the grades are pushed into the student's grade book. So this is the workshop from the teacher editor's perspective. It's fairly easy to follow the 5 steps because this is the grid I found. Although I had never created a workshop before, it was quite easy to follow and to complete everything that's necessary in order for the workshop to be set up. This workshop is now in the submission phase. What does that mean? Well, students are invited to submit their work. There is a schedule I set up. So the activity can move forward to phase number 3 on Friday, June 21st. So in the setup phase, what I already completed is set the workshop description, provide instructions for a submission, edit the assessment form, and prepare an example submission. Then this is fairly easy especially for learners who are familiar with Moodle. Provide instructions for assessment, you define the dates, and I set up a schedule for allocation, which comes after the submission. So far, 2 students have provided their work. So let's take a closer look at how this workshop was set up. I click on the gray arrow, which takes me to the setup page. First, there is a general description, something we have already seen from the student's perspective. And next, there is the section grading settings. A teacher has several grading strategies. There is a cumulative grading. You give points. There are comments. You can count the number of errors, or you can create the rubrics. I went with a cumulative grading since it is well known by all the learners, and I'm not creating this workshop for a group. I'm actually teaching. So I am confident that everyone knows how to award points for something that they recognize. Next, I can change the grade for submission and the grade for assessment between 0 and 1. In this case, well, I chose at random a grade for submission. That means the student's work that they created will be weighted with 70%, and the student's grade for grading other students will be weighted with 30%. Okay, I can choose decimal places if I want, however, I chose not to. Next, let's take a look at the assessment form that can be created by the teacher. You remember that I chose a cumulative grading, and what I found here are aspects, well, you can call them criteria. I can add multiple criteria, however, I have limited this to 5 for this work because this is where students will spend time in assessing someone else's work. So it's a way to control a student's workload, how many criteria you want. For each criterion, I have a list I can choose from best possible points, and I can weight this criterion. Remember that the computer will calculate the grade. Now, I haven't figured this out yet, since this is my first attempt to create a workshop, so it's worthwhile playing around with it before trying this out on a real students group. I might try to do this after the fact. That means after the students have graded each other's work, and see how what I find. So I created aspect 1, aspect, and of course these aspects are related to the task description, which shouldn't be a surprise. For each aspect I chose best possible, and I chose the weight. Now, the interesting thing is that however far you go, there are 2 more aspects you could add. So the list can go on and on and on, and it's for you to decide how many aspects you want the students to look at when they read their peers' work. This, of course, has an influence on what they will learn from this task. Something about workload. Of course, the teacher will decide how many peer works each learner will assess. For some reason, recommended to allocate an uneven number of works. I don't know why. This is an open question I have. And what is required as you set up the workshop is you need to inform students how much time they have. Submission, the phase we're now in. I can always manually switch the phase, clicking on here, or I am informed in this case that I have scheduled the switch into the assessment phase after Friday, June 21st. I can always override this and I can change later in the setup phase. There are possibilities for me to intervene if students tell me they need more time, for example. So this is what I have created so far. Let's see how it goes. If more students, well, in this case, if more peers participate in this activity, we will have an opportunity to discuss how peer assessment can contribute to students' learning. I would like to repeat that this is not a tutorial. As a matter of fact, this is my way of asking how this workshop can be implemented in English learning environment. So if there is anyone out there who has suggestions, ideas, comments, who can answer my questions, please get in touch, leave a comment. Thank you.